rescue talent.
Hello, we're here with the Harwich Conservation Trust with Michael Locke and Tyler Maycast, and I think we're going to be talking turtles today. Talking turtle.
That's
So,
right. Yeah, could be a new monthly show.
It could.
That's right. Talking
so
turtle.
talk turtle to me, Michael.
Okay, all right. Well, this time of year, in particular, we have turtles on the move, right? Looking either for mates or nesting areas. We're focusing on two local turtle species in particular. Several years ago, we started a box turtle observation program, reaching out to folks, see if they could volunteer their time and sharing their observations of box turtles throughout town. A couple different goals with that effort. One, provide a meaningful volunteer experience. We love to engage folks out in the nature, land, water, wildlife. There's a box turtle photo there by Janet D. Mattia. Look at those irises. The males actually have red irises. The females have more brown irises. So this is a species at risk, right? Due to primarily habitat loss and mortality crossing roads, which they'll do this time of year. So we want to know, among those goals again for this box turtle observation project, to understand where they're appearing in town. And again, look at that, crossing that double yellow line on a local road.
Wow.
Right? That brilliant sunburst pattern, orange, yellows, just a spectacular animal.
Yeah.
And then they disappear into the woods. The sun-spackled, pine needle strewn oak pine woodland around us, and we don't see them very often. And again, they're a little bit more active this time of year. We want to know where they are around town in relation to protected areas, as well as areas in need of future protection, so we can continue to conserve their habitat.
So that's not a very large turtle, is it? Because it's
No.
on that yellow line. It doesn't really come over on
That's
much
right.
on either side of that
Yeah.
thin yellow line.
Think of something like a grapefruit, a little bit larger than a grapefruit,
Yeah.
somewhere between grapefruit, cantaloupe, somewhere in that size.
And hard to see. It almost blends in with the yellow.
Yes, and even more difficult to see in our local woodlands. But
of course.
Tyler, you want to share more about that project?
Sure, yeah. So we are looking for volunteers to be reporting sightings of eastern box turtles. Aforementioned, it's a species of special concern. It's on the Massachusetts Endangered Species Act list, so which provides some legal protection for the species in the state of Massachusetts. There cannot be any collection or poaching or hunting of that turtle from a legal standpoint. And also spotted turtles, which we're adding this year. It's a semi-aquatic turtle known to Harwich. They spend a good deal of their time in wetlands, but they also are found foraging in upland areas. And this time of year, the females are seeking out nest sites as well. So in contrast to the box turtle, it does spend a lot of time in water. Box turtles being mostly terrestrial turtles. The spotted turtle is a small turtle, only reaching about 4.5 inches long. So there's a beautiful individual. So the yellow spots on the carapace are very characteristic. Carapace is the top of the turtle shell. And the yellow and orange markings on the face of the turtle and orange on the plastron, or the bottom of the shell. This is a species that is declining. It's of significant conservation interest. Really relies on wetlands for foraging. They eat a lot of frogs and aquatic insects and also tadpoles and things like that. I did see, unfortunately, a road-killed individual a couple weeks ago on undisclosed location, but here in Harwich. So that got me thinking a little bit about adding this species to our purview and seeing how we can track where they are persisting in Harwich and with the same goal of seeing where they are in relation to protected areas and what areas might need future protection. Particularly as this species may become a species that is added to the endangered species list in Massachusetts. It's listed in other New England states. It's listed in Canada as well. So it's under threat throughout its range for the same reasons that Mike outlined.
So you're looking for volunteers to help spot them,
Yes, so,
Yes.
but
so
you
yeah.
also want people to be alert, anyone, whether they're volunteering or not, you want them to be alert. And I had read somewhere, and tell me if this is good advice, is you should carry a shovel in your car in case you need to move a turtle off of the road if you see a turtle in the road, and that you can very gently pick up the turtle on a shovel and move it to the side of the road, but that you have to be sure that you put it in the same direction that it was going. Is this correct?
That's generally correct. Of course, we also emphasize personal safety first. If there's a turtle crossing the road,
Route 28.
right,
lots
and
of- yeah.
if somebody can feel like they can safely pull over and help the
That's-
turtle
yes,
cross in the
that's a
direction it
very
was
good
going,
provider,
then yes, they could help the turtle move in that same direction that it was headed. Box turtles and spotted turtles you could just pick up more towards the back end of the shell and move across. If you're attempting a snapping turtle, that's different. That's where you might have a snow shovel in your car.
Of course, some people
yeah.
may not be able to discern the difference. So
Right.
I think maybe that's why the general advice was given. But,
Yes.
not everyone has full knowledge of the different types of turtles, and they might not know that something was going to snap.
Right, right.
So,
Good point.
Best to be on the safe side again, perhaps.
Snapping turtles are quite a bit larger,
Yes, yeah.
several times larger.
Okay.
They have ridges on their shell, which neither of these species have.
I see. Then you'd really need a snow shovel.
Well, that may be a species that some people are not able to handle because they can weigh upwards of 30 pounds.
Right. I was
Right,
thinking
yes.
balancing on a shovel might be
Whereas
difficult too. Yeah.
a spotted turtle actually
Okay.
can weigh under a pound.
Right. They look tiny. Yeah.
They are very small. Yeah.
Generally speaking, when people do encounter the box turtle or spotted turtle, which is our species of focus with this effort, we ask that if they can snap a photo and send us that photo. Email is fine. Everybody seems to have a camera on their phone these days.
Yep.
And then also relay information about location, maybe
right.
the nearest road crossing.
Or a GPS point is even better.
Or a GPS coordinates, yes.
Yes.
And then we can help fill out the rare
Okay.
animal observation form and send that data to the
Okay.
state.
So this is for the average person who happens to see a turtle.
That's right.
But you
Yeah, it
also
is.
want to hear from people who are willing to be official turtle spotters, is that right? Or is this basically what you're talking
We
about?
don't distinguish between those two
Okay.
No.
descriptions. Yeah, we
Okay.
are looking for
So you're
folks
not
to-
registering people for
No.
turtle spotting?
Oh, no.
No.
Okay. It's not like herring counting.
Yeah, and correct. And you never know when you're going to come across these turtles,
Yes, of
right?
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's sort of more incidental.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, all right.
And other information that's very important is time and date.
Okay,
And just to piggyback on what Mike said, what we do with these observations is we will actually send them into the state. The Department of Fish and Game has a natural heritage and endangered species program that deals with these species of conservation interests and on the state's endangered species list. They keep a database because they are looking to fund sometimes land protection projects in those areas also.
okay.
yes.
So, I think we're on to Cornelius Pond, is that right?
Yeah, just a
You
quick
wanted to talk
update.
about the woodlands there?
Right, about the stewardship chapter for this property now that thanks to the support from so many across the community, including town meeting voters and the state's Conservation Partnership Grant Program. You can see the property shown in red there, encompassing most of the westerly shoreline of Cornelius Pond, more than 1,000 feet of shoreline. Also road frontage on Queen Anne Road, Now that the money has been raised to acquire and preserve that property, we are working on establishing a trailhead. Some may have seen the trailhead put in place there by the town highway department. Thank you, Link Hooper and Boo and the crew there, who were able to so expertly level the area between the road and the parking area. We are next going to work with the Chatham Harwich Newcomers Club, their woodworkers group, to finish installing a kiosk that they first constructed not too long ago. And then also Tyler will be working with AmeriCorps Cape Cod to actually place the trail on the ground. So this property, as you're seeing from the photos, has a wonderful diversity of habitats, including meadow that you see here, the shoreline that I mentioned, forested upland, and also pockets of wetland. Beautiful area, and it's kind of like going back in time, walking through this area. And we hope with this new trail that's evolving, stay tuned for news about when it's officially open.
Okay.
People can enjoy it themselves.
Yes, and I'm sure they will. That's great.
Yes.
And finally, you wanted to talk about, is it volunteers?
Our walk schedule.
The walks,
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right. You
yes.
have walks coming up.
Lots of walks.
Lots
Check
of
our
walks
website,
right.
harwichconservationtrust.org. But very interesting, we have this neat walk this time of year called the Native Nightlife Walk in the National Seashore. Todd and Marcus lead these walks. You've had experience with them too,
Yeah,
Tyler.
they're wonderful walk leaders.
Yeah.
Very knowledgeable. They really engage with the group, and it can be very different on every walk, depending on the mix of the group. So it's
And on what you see, I would imagine.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
So this particular walk, you see Marcus there, this particular walk, and that's a photo actually of folks on this Native Nightlife Walk before it becomes more of that twilight time. So this takes place roughly in the 6 to 8 p.m. range, that transition time between diurnal or daytime wildlife activity and crepuscular or dusk time activity for wildlife into the nocturnal or nighttime activity span for wildlife. And folks make their way through the National Seashore in Eastham along a wooded trail, some bike trail, and then out to Coast Guard Beach, looking out over the Atlantic here. Led by Marcus Hendricks, native Nipmuc and Wampanoag, Native American heritage, and 12th generation Cape Codder Todd Kelly. They talk about Native American traditions and activity over time in these areas, as well as early colonial history and how Native Americans and colonists intersected at different points in Cape Cod history. There's a photo, right, as that daylight wanes more.
Yeah.
We hold these walks around the time of the full moon. Don't necessarily see the full moon at these walks, but certainly talk about its influence on wildlife activity and also Native American and traditions over time. We partner with the Eastham Conservation Foundation on those walks. So when people register through our website, they'll receive directions. It's $20 per person for those walks. We're also offering a number of free guided walks with other walk leaders.
Okay.
So you can check our website.
Yes. And when is the first one, just to start us off?
June 17th, Monday, June 17th,
Okay.
but we'll be holding them also around the time of the full moon in July, August, and September.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it all sounds wonderful, and spring, I think, is here.
It is.
Maybe not today.
Felt pretty spring-like, summerish, springish, summerish over the weekend, but it will get back there. And thank
Yes.
you so much for coming in,
Thanks for having us.
filling
Thanks.
us in as always.
Thanks, Dinah.
This is Dinah Lane for Harwich Channel 18. Thank you.